Hey everyone, good evening. Originally, I had said I was going to make this video and put it on my Patreon for my first pay video, but I changed my mind. I kept it a bit tamer than I'm going to have it on my Patreon, but I thought I'd give you guys kind of a preview of what'll be on there for some of the story times. Now, this one's a bit tame because it is YouTube, so I don't want to go over the top. So, anyways, here's my story time. Tell me what you think.
Hello. If you ain't rocking with Jody, you ain't rocking. Y'all tell me about? Hello.
Welcome to the Jody Joe Show, where it's just Jody dropping straight jewels.
So, the way it started with me in the adult entertainment side, I had just moved to San Diego. I had moved from Pittsburgh, California to San Diego because I had gotten married. My husband was in the military. So we ended up moving, and about a year later, we were at a club, and I had on a bustier and a tight little skirt and some really high heels. And I was really just dressed up to have fun. I wasn't looking to get into any trouble or do anything, but I was dressed pretty provocative. So there were these club promoters that were always there every week, and I got to know them. I got to know the photographer of the club. It got to the point where I would even help. Like when I got there, I would help with greeting people, setting up some of the photography booths, helping with some of the other stuff. I was kind of out of habit because I used to do A&R, I used to do other work, so club promotions and so forth is something I was already kind of familiar with. So I was at this club with my husband and a couple of his other friends, and we were all dancing and having a good time, and I was the only female in the group because it was all military men. So at this club, we were dancing. I was dancing with my husband and one of my husband's friends, and we were dancing, and I had got tired and I went to go to the bar, and my husband was like, "You want me to get the drinks for you?" I was like, "No," because some other girl had asked him to dance. I was like, "Dance with her. I'm gonna go and, you know, mingle and go to the bar." So I get off the dance floor and this lady walks up to me. I remember looking at her and thinking, damn, she's beautiful. She had blonde hair, huge boobs, huge, bigger than mine. And at the time, I was wearing a double F bra, and she was bigger than me. And I remember I was like, damn, she looks like she's modeled, but her body said not typical model because, well, with your normal average model, they want you to be really skinny, really tiny and petite. So that's because they want the clothes to hang off of you like a hanger. This girl had hangers, all right. She had knockers that were huge. And I remember her walking up to me, and I was just staring at her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't stop staring at her boobs. Not that I was attracted to her. I wasn't. It was just I was amazed that she was this little tiny short lady with these boobs that were obviously fake because they... Anyway, I'm getting way off track. So she comes up to me and she was like, "Hi, I'm the club promoter and I see you here all the time." And she introduced herself and she was like, "You know, you're really pretty and you look like you're very photogenic. Can I ask you, have you modeled before?" And I said, "Yeah, I have, but it's been a long time, but I did a little bit of work." And she was like, "Okay, great. Hey, are you interested in doing some of the promotions with the club, and maybe we could talk on the side about some other jobs and assignments that I might have for you?" And she gave me her business card, and I was like, this girl wanna fuck me, or she wanna put me on to be fucked. Because you could just tell, her whole vibe said fuck, sex, fuck me. It was just her vibe. So I took her card, but I never called her. And we went back to that same club a few times within that next month or two. And then when we went another time, she came up to me and she was like, hey, come with me, take some pictures. So I walked around with her and took pictures with some of the artists and performers, the DJs, some of the patrons, and was walking around, and you know, I was helping her with greeting people, and she was like, yeah, you're really good, you're really personable, you obviously have the look, you know how to speak to people. I'm really interested in having you join what I do with my personal site. It's very separate from the club here. This is where I work doing promotions and stuff, but I have a website. And I was like, okay, what kind of website? What are you doing? She's like, well, we model lingerie and clothing and so forth. And I'm like, okay, so are you modeling for a clothing brand? Is there a specific company you're working for? And she kind of giggled and she was like, it's my company. And the company I keep is a little different. And I was like, pardon? And she said, well, what I do, let me show you, come with me, let me show you. It'd be better to show you and explain it versus tell you here, because it's not going to make quite as much sense and it will probably come off different than I want it to. And I was like, I don't know about this. I just don't. So I was like, let me think on it. I'll take your card. And she goes, okay, here's my card. Here's my website. Check it out. Give me a call. And I put it to the side. I didn't think a whole lot of it. But my husband was like, Jody, go check it out. Let's see what this is she's talking about. I want to know what it is. And I'm like, it sounds like she's doing porn. And he was like, I know. And I'm like, for real? And he was like, let's just hear her out. We don't have to do nothing. I'm like, you mean me? And he was like, well, let's just check it out. Let's just check it out. You know, if nothing else, we'll have an experience and we'll have a story we can tell. And here I am telling part of that story. So I ended up checking out the website she gave me, and I only had access at first to the part that was public because you had to pay a fee or have a password and code to get into the good stuff. So on the outside of the site, it looked beautiful. It was very erotic, very tasteful. It was nice. It was pretty. It was a bunch of websites of women in mostly clothed, but scantily clothed. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And then she was like, okay, you looked at it, you like my site, what did you think? I could introduce you to some of the people on the covers here that you're seeing so that they can give you their input and tell you how it is. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. So she also gave me a pass. She said, here's the code. I want you to check out the work on the inside and tell me what you think. She said, I want you to look at my pictures because I have a section on there too. And I want you to tell me what you think of my work. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. So I open up the website. I was prepared and I wasn't prepared because everything was out there, like everything. And she showed me her work, which she did everything. She did everything. And then she showed me other women's work where some women didn't really even get fully naked. They just did erotic art. And then you had others who were going much further than that, would be into the hardcore porn. So she did both sides of it. So I ended up checking out her site and she was like, look, you don't even have to get naked or take off your clothes or anything. I just want to photograph you. Let me just photograph you, take some test shots. You see how this grooming goes. Let me take some test shots of you. You're so beautiful. Let me just, you know, capture some photos. If nothing else, you'll have some good boudoir shots. And I'm like, well, what's in this for you? And she was like, well, we could talk about doing work together. If this turns out to be something you're comfortable with, I could take these test shots and submit them to other places for you if you're interested. It's just really up to you. And so I was like, She said, look, I'll pay you $100 to do a half-hour shoot where you don't have to take off any clothes. You don't have to give up exclusive rights to your content. I'll teach you all about how this works. And I was like, okay. So time went by, I checked it out, I ended up posing for her. I liked how the photos came out. They looked gorgeous. They were very erotic, but very tastefully done. And I had a makeup artist there to do my makeup. We had the whole photo shoot set up. It was professional. Very, very, very professional. And then the longer I was doing it, I started being a feature on her site. And she was dating another girl at the time. She wasn't a girl, she was a grown woman. She was dating this other grown woman at the time who I thought was another really beautiful woman. I used to see her all the time at the same club. And she acted kind of odd to me. She was nice, but she wasn't nice. You know, it's like, you could tell she's being nice, but she's not wanting to be. And I couldn't figure out why this lady had kind of a disdain for me, because I always was very professional, very kind. I was never rude, vulgar, disrespectful. That was probably the problem. I wasn't vulgar enough. But she was nice to me. And then she came to me 6 months or so down the line after I'd been posing on the site. This lady had me as her feature several times. She really, really loved my work, and I ended up boosting her subscriptions a lot. And I ended up working under her for a while. I had some promo codes. I'd make money off of it. And it was going really well. I was getting really popular on the site. And she had, like, at the time, I don't remember how many models. I honestly can't remember. It's been over 25 years. 20 models, 25 models, 30 model. I don't remember. It wasn't huge, but it was a decent amount. And the lady that I said was nice to me, but was kind of not so nice, she came to me one day. She was like, look, if I hook you up with a magazine, you want to leave this? And I'm like, pardon? She said, well, you do really good here, but what if I teach you how to do magazine work and how to start your own stuff? And I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. Why? And she was like, the truth, that's my girlfriend. And she's taking too much of an interest in you. And I'd rather help you up, not stomp you down, but I don't necessarily want you in my area either, because I'm like, you see me as competition. And she was like, I'm like, but I'm not interested in her. I don't date women, so I'm not interested. And she's like, she's the boss. Everybody always tries going for the boss at some time. She was like, so look, you could keep working here, or if you want me to show you how to do some other stuff. And at the time, I wasn't real big on staying doing this anyway, because it was just kind of an experience for me. And so when she was like, magazine work, I was like, oh, that might be fun. I hadn't posed in a magazine in a while. So I was like, well, I don't want to be taking no bribe. I mean, if you're doing this as a bribe, then no. I mean, I'm not cool with that. And she was like, no, honestly, Jody, you deserve it. I wouldn't put myself out there to tell you this if I didn't think you could truly make it, because it would look bad on me. I am bringing you to the company, to the main people who own the network, who own, not network, but the magazine division, and giving you directly to the editor. All you got to do is say, hi, I want to do it. And so I was like, oh, magazine. Okay, I'll give it a shot. She said, okay, look. So submit some headshots. Send them to me. I'll tell you which ones are best. We're going to submit them to the editor. And then we're going to get you in the magazine. And then you could start backing off of my girl's site and start doing your own thing separate. So I was like, oh, no promises. Because I didn't want to rope myself into no weird shit. But I was like, I'll see what's up, but I'm not making any agreements with you. And she was like, that's fair enough, fair enough. So I ended up
submitting my photos to the magazine, and within 24 hours, less than 24 hours, because I remember I had filled out the application. It wasn't even an application. I filled out some paperwork and I submitted the documents, and within 10 hours, honestly, I got a reply back from the editor directly saying, we'd like you to come to LA and do a photo shoot. So I was like, what? Oh my gosh, my very first time doing this type of work for a magazine, because I had to dress down, up. So that was fun. So I ended up arriving there in LA in a limo. I did a photo shoot at Taylor Wayne. You may know the porn star Taylor Wayne. She was very, very popular. She has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of movies. So she was my coach, and her husband is the one who shot the photos, because he's a photographer, for my magazine, which was Big Butt Magazine. They did Big Butt Magazine, Big Black Butt Magazine. They worked with Plumpers and one other, but I can't remember the name at the time. So at the time, I was posing in Big Butt Magazine. Yeah, Big Butt Magazine. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. But it was a really fun photo shoot. But there was one situation which was very embarrassing, because I was extremely comfortable after a while. Like, because the set is beautiful, it's really nice, it's very professional. There was nothing inappropriate, nothing. I had a makeup artist do my makeup. I was on a photo shoot, on a stage, on a sound stage. It was professional, with all the marks on the ground. Stand on your mark, go through your poses. And I was like, wow, okay. But there was one part, I got a little too comfortable. Now, I brought a friend with me. No, that was the second time. I'm about to mix up the second story, which is real life, with the first time I went. Because the first time I went, my husband went with me. The second time I went, I brought another porn star with me. Because on my second trip, I was more comfortable. So my husband was present for the first one, but I brought the girls along for the second one. And that shit was wild. That shit was fun. It was bad fun in that two things happened. One of them really pissed me off really bad, and one was funny, embarrassing, and a turn on and a turn off. So during the second photo shoot, they wanted me to use a toy, and I said no, and they said, okay, well, will you pose with it? But it was a white dildo, and I was not really cool with that. That was not, so I was very angry. But let's skip that. Let's skip that topic. But then they're like, okay, so put the dildo away. Because they could see I was not happy. And they were like, okay, look, this is what you're going to do. You're going to sit this way. And it required me to have my legs spread. I had on thigh highs and garter belts and a really tiny little outfit. So when my legs were open, you could see some stuff, but it wasn't super duper foul. Like, it wasn't like I was holding the whole thing open so you could, do a whole gyno exam. But I would say I didn't want my grandma to see it, but my grandma did see it, because after I did the photo shoots, I went ahead and took my magazine, covered the no-no bits, and showed my family. Because, well, we were close like that. My family were not the most reputable of people. And they were the ones who also were for me doing the adult work. Because before I posed in the magazine, before I even thought about it, I spoke with my grandmother and my mother and said I had an opportunity to pose in a magazine nude. Should I do it? My mom said, I would have done it when I was your age. And my grandma was like, girl, you better do it. Do it. So I did it. So on my second photo shoot, I was extremely comfortable because I knew the people now. I knew the set. I was familiar with it. And I remember I was in the chair feeling all hella happy. And the photographer was taking forever, like with the camera and trying to adjust stuff. And he was like,
and making all these sounds. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why is he doing all this dramatics? And he went and told his wife something. And she came over and she said, Jody, where's your friend? We need you to help us because there's too much of a glare on the camera. And I'm like, well, what you mean there's a glare on the camera? And is it too bright out? Is it the sun? They're like, bitch, it's your pussy. It's too wet. It's too wet. You are so wet that it is making a glare off the TV, off the lens. And I was like, my apologies, I'm a squirter. So there's that. And then she was really excited. She was like, oh, really now? Maybe we should talk about doing some... And I said, no, I got too comfortable telling the first part. So they wanted, and she did hardcore porn. So they wanted me to do like some things, but I never did. I tapped out early. I posed in magazines. I'm not gonna lie and sit there and tell you I hated all of it. I didn't initially want to go into the adult side, but there were parts of it that I did enjoy because it was fun being glammed up. It was fun doing different fake stuff because most of the stuff that I did was staged. I wasn't having sex. I wasn't really out there doing big things. Even though they consider hardcore porn, even if you have a finger up your pussy, they consider that hardcore. Finger in your ass, hardcore. Sucking a dick, hardcore. Even if you're not fucking, it's still considered hardcore. So whatever they want to label it. But it was funny because they said I was too wet. So my friend had to come up on the set because they were like, Jody, don't move. Because they had positioned me a certain way to where I was right on the mark, right in the camera's angle. I was just too wet. So my friend came up. She was like, I can't believe I'm doing this shit. You are so lucky you're my friend. And they were like, oh, damn it. And she got tissue and she was like wiping everything down. And then she had to make sure there's no hair or no fucking lint or nothing from the rag from cleaning me. I was like, I cannot believe this. I am sitting here having this woman wash my pussy while I'm over here trying to pose in this magazine, and the magazine man is sitting here with the camera focused on me. I got the coach there, the makeup artist, my friends washing my twinkle bit. Oh my God. That was embarrassing. Why I chose to share that part with you, I don't know. My heart is like beating so fast right now because I can't believe I'm sharing this stuff. But I figured, fuck it. It's a part of my life. I learned from it. I wouldn't do it again, but it was fun. Oh, and the first time I did not get the cover, but I had a 6-page spread, I believe, the first time. Then I appeared in Plumpers, and I just had a couple pages in that. Then the second time I posed in Big Butt, I got the cover. I had an 8-page spread, and I had the centerfold and the cover. But I was fat, really fat. How fat was I, you ask? Almost 250 fucking pounds fat. I had a gastric bypass, and I lost a lot of weight. So I used to be a big girl. Then when I had the gastric bypass, I had a full NRU-NY, I lost 129 pounds. It's funny because in the entertainment industry, they love big girls. I made great money when I was fat. Great money. Oh my gosh. BBW's huge fetish, especially if you got a big ass and tits and hips. Oh, they love you. Then when I lost the weight, yes, I got healthy, but the men didn't like me the same. It wasn't nearly the same. So there's that. So anyway, there's a little bit about one of my porn experiences. I'll be back.
Porn story number 1. Wait till you hear number 2. And I ain't talking shit.